when Georgie Stevenson was doing her podcast with Jordanna, this is what she was saying. She said, ideally, everyone should use the assertive style of communicating. And when we usually think of assertive, you're like, whoa, I don't want to be assertive. Like, you think of that as either being intrusive or being too rude. But she explains it and saying that there's actually a negative connotation to it and it shouldn't be like that. And assertive isn't aggressive. It's two different things. So I think what a general society is thinking is that when you're being assertive, you're also being aggressive, but it's not the same thing.
And that's actually a good point, because when you hear assertive, even for me, I'm just like, well, am I asserting my dominance? Is that what it defines it as? Or, you know what I mean? Like I said before at the start, it's a balance of the two. But it seems like the assertive is a good balance in some way or form.
Yeah. So she explains assertive as it's just a person who simply knows what they want and they'll express that, but at the same time they will understand that other people will have their opinions and they are allowed to voice that. It's just that I want this and this is where I want it to get to, but I'm open to opinions, or I would like to hear your thoughts, something like that. Whereas aggressive is like, no, we need to do this.
Yeah, that's actually true.
I only want this. So that's what she explains it as.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you're sort of in that balance of respect, but getting your point out kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think for me, I was thinking about it because I used to always think I'd be a passive person, communicator, which it does happen, but I definitely think I am assertive most cases. But as I think I was explaining to you off the mics, that I can fluctuate between or switch between assertive and passive, especially when I feel a bit more intimidated or someone is like higher ranks than me and I don't want to be disrespectful, or I don't want to step on their toes or make them feel like I'm trying to take over the job or something like that, as an example. Then I'd be a bit more passive. But I think that's something I need to learn, is to still remain assertive and respectful and not fall into that passive category.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point, because even for me, I feel like, yes, I'm probably predominantly assertive.
And I think you're really good at that. Like, you definitely are assertive, but a good kind, like not in an aggressive manner. Like, you know how to express what you want and get your point across and know how to listen to other people.
Yeah, and I was saying that I am predominantly aggressive. Sorry, assertive. No, I don't fucking go in people's face. No.
Like those fight photos where they're like right in each other's faces.
No, I'm predominantly assertive, but I feel that there are times where I wouldn't say passive, but potentially passive aggressive.
A bit of that passive aggressive.
Yeah, because like there's different situations. Like for an example, work, right? If you're having a chat with your boss, obviously there are times where you can get your point out respectfully, but there's also times where, depending on the boss, you got to be passive. You got to go with the flow and listen, understand where they're coming from, because your boss could be very particular with results or that sort of stuff. So you coming off as, hey, this is my opinion, may offend them in some way, because everyone's different. So there are situations or times where I have come off in a passive way, and then other situations where you have to be passive aggressive. Outside of work, probably more in that friendship situation.
Like joking around.
Yeah. There are moments where you have to be a little passive aggressive.
Yeah.
But I bounce around the three.
Yeah, so again, it really depends on the situation.
Yeah, it's situational based, 100%.